Mars has transited to Pisces, the much needed relief for all of us. That's what we talk about today. Hello everybody, I'm Tina Chaudhary. Welcome to my channel and a very warm namaste. So on May 16th, Mars has transited into the next zodiac sign of Pisces. Now it was transiting in the sign before, which is Aquarius. And in Aquarius, we had Saturn with Mars. And I've mentioned in my prior videos that Mars hates being with Saturn. They're enemy planets. They don't like being with each other. So Mars was very troubled. It had its negative energy and it was in a state of conflict, confusion. While it was in this state of confusion, it was giving all of us this anger, ego issues, because Mars represents our self-confidence. It also represents our action, our ability to take action, move forward with confidence. It's the first zodiac sign of the birth chart, so it gives us the initiative, the self-confidence to move forward. And so when it's troubled or the energy of Mars is disturbed, it gives us the negative influences of it, which means anger, ego, fighting, and conflict. So that's what we saw within ourselves. We had trouble with relationships. We had trouble with career because it was sitting with Saturn, and Saturn represents career. So we saw all these conflicts, not only within ourselves, but with people. It was further, made worse by the fact that the planet that rules communication, Mercury, is retrograde. It still is retrograde, so we still need to watch our communication a little bit. But the fact that now Mars is moving out of its discomfort zone, its disturbed energy, the energy of conflict, and now it moves into the zodiac sign of Pisces. Now, what is going on in Pisces? Well, Pisces, first of all, is owned by Jupiter, the guru. And the one planet that's already sitting there is Jupiter itself. Now, Jupiter is the guru or the coach of all the gods. So it's Deva Guru. So Guru is considered the mentor, the teacher, the coach of all the other planets. So also of Mars. So if there's anybody that can control Mars' fiery energy and make it behave, it's Guru or Jupiter. So as soon as Mars comes into Pisces, it meets Jupiter. And so it's not a tight conjunction, but it meets its coach or mentor or guru. And so what does it have to do? Well, the first thing the guru is going to tell it to do is behave itself, because that's the only person that can make Mars behave. So Guru or Jupiter, I should say, in Pisces is going to make Mars calm down, first of all. That's what the teacher does. As soon as the teacher enters a classroom of unruly students, what's the first thing the teacher does is tell them to calm down, go back, sit back down on your chairs. And so that's what Mars is going to do. Jupiter is going to tell Mars to calm down, get its fiery energy, unruliness under control. And so that's what Mars is going to do. It's going to make all of us calm down. It's going to make all of us suddenly start behaving a little better. It's going to get our anger and ego in control. Now, the other thing is that Jupiter not only signifies the guru or the teacher or the coach of Mars, but Jupiter also signifies wisdom. The primary signification of Jupiter is wisdom. So the next thing that it's going to tell Mars, all of us, is to use wisdom before we take any decisions or actions. So that's one of the guidance that I have to give everybody, is before we start taking action, which is Mars is a planet of action, taking action towards moving towards your goals, that to use your wisdom carefully. So Jupiter is going to tell Mars, you need to use your wisdom before you take any aggressive, hasty, impulsive action. The other thing is that we need to take a look at the signification of Pisces. Pisces, the zodiac sign, is the last or the 12th house of the zodiac. Pisces signifies calmness. It also signifies sleep, because it's the last house. So in order to fall asleep, you have to calm yourself down very much. It also signifies spirituality, moving away from material things, moving away from your ego, anger, calming yourself down so you can prepare yourself to go to sleep. So that's the other good benefit that Mars now is going to learn, is that you need to calm yourself down, move away from fighting for material things, calm yourself down, get a little more spiritual. And in order to move towards your goals, you need to use wisdom, and you need to stop fighting for the material things in life. Even if you want to achieve material things in life, you need to use your wisdom, and you need to use a little bit of sense of spirituality. Even if you want to attain some material goals, spirituality or the knowledge of spirituality is very important at this time. So this is a wonderful transit. It's only going to last for 42 days. So Mars moved in there on May 16th. It's only going to stay there till June 26th. So 42 days is our window of opportunity to use this wonderful energy of Jupiter and Mars to make plans. How do you want to move forward to achieve those goals? What are the action plans that you need to make in order to move forward to achieve those goals? Now, right after June 26th, Mars is going to move into the next sign, which is Aries. And what planet is sitting in Aries? Rahu, or North Node, is sitting in Aries. So that calls for some fiery times ahead. I'll talk about that when it gets closer to that transit. But at this time, this window of opportunity for 42 days is so critical for all of us to put our anger and our ego aside and move towards better relationships, move towards better, smarter plans, so as we move ahead in life. Now, one of the things that I would suggest is, because a lot of people have had relationship issues in the last few weeks, as Mars has battled Saturn and as Mercury has been retrograde, that this might be the time where we put our ego and anger aside, be the bigger person, and reach out to those relationships that we may have damaged in the last few months, in the last few weeks, and reach out to those people, be the bigger person, use the wisdom of Jupiter, reach out to those relationships that we may have damaged because of our anger, because of our ego, reach out to that person and try our best to repair the relationship that may have fallen apart. So this 42 days is a very opportune time where we repair relationships that may have broken apart, like I said, because of our anger and ego. Use this time very wisely for all things that may help to move forward in the future, for attainment of our goals and for repairing of our relationships. One of the other things that we have to take into account is the fact that Mars has been blessed with the aspect of 3 different aspects. So normally each planet has the aspect of the house directly across from it, which is the 7th house from it. But Mars has the 3 aspects that it was blessed with. So Mars aspects the house that's 4th from it, the 7th from it, and the 8th from it. So when Mars is in Pisces, the 8th aspect of Mars is going to fall on the zodiac sign of Libra. And guess who's sitting in Libra? It's South Node, or Ketu. So at this time, Mars, when it moves into Pisces, is going to be staring right at Ketu, which is South Node in Libra. So people that have planets in Gemini, Virgo, and Libra are going to get impacted as well by this Mars transit because of the aspect of Mars from Pisces. I want to just say, before I move on to predictions for every ascendant, is that I have so many emails. I'm getting so many emails regarding reading your charts or reading birth charts. So I'm sorry that there's a big delay, but I'm getting literally hundreds of emails a day, and it's not really possible for me to get to everybody. So I apologize sincerely for the people that are still waiting for responses on their emails. I'll definitely get to you, but I apologize for the delay. The one more wonderful thing I do want to point out is that I now have my merchandise, which is t-shirts, that you can see below on my merchandise shelf. It says Tina Chaudhary merchandise. These are t-shirts that have the zodiac signs on them. So there's 12 different t-shirts with the zodiac signs on them. And each zodiac sign is signified by a beautiful lady. To me, each zodiac sign has so much beauty in it, and then I've tried to capture this by collaborating with an artist, and she has done these illustrations perfectly. So I've talked to her back and forth about the beauty of each zodiac sign and what that lady of each zodiac sign would look like, what is her beauty, and the significations of those zodiac signs. So you can definitely just take a look. You can purchase the merchandise if you want to. If you don't want to, you can just click on it, and then it takes you directly to the website, and you can purchase the t-shirts if you want to. They're very, very high quality t-shirts. Also, you can change the background color on each t-shirt. You can pick out what size you want, and then the background colors or the t-shirt colors are whatever I've put out there, but there's different colors you can pick from. But it doesn't cost you anything to just click on it and just go to the website and just kind of look at all the different illustrations. The artist has done a commendable job, so I encourage you to just kind of look at it. They're wonderful if you want to buy them. If you want to buy them as gifts, they're great. I don't see your credit card, or I don't see your payment information. I don't see who purchases them, but they're collaboration that I did with an artist and through Spring, so they will definitely make your merchandise, ship it to you directly. So that's how that works. But in case you just want to look at the illustrations, they're just gorgeous pieces of art. So just definitely do that. And whenever you want to, you can make a purchase. So I just wanted to point that out because that artist has done such an amazing, art for me in me going back and forth and telling her what I think of each zodiac sign as. So take a look at that beautiful art, even if you don't want to purchase the t-shirt. I'm moving on to predictions. My predictions are based on the ascendant sign, the zodiac that's in the first sign of your birth chart. They're not based on the sun signs that you read in the magazines or based on your date of birth and then, depending on the month that you were born in. It has nothing to do with that. So it's based on your ascendant sign. Also, these are general predictions. Transits do affect us, but the actual results that you see are always based on the planets that are placed are in your unique birth chart that you were born with. And as usual, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel and share this video with friends and family. And if you like it, give me a like. Aries, Mars is in your 12th house now. The 12th house denotes expenses more than anything else. It also denotes, like I said before, the house of sleep. So one of the things that Mars does is because it represents some energy, it might give you slight sleep, sleep problems. You might have difficulty falling asleep. The best thing to do is do some mantra practice or try to calm yourself down before you actually go to bed. Now, expenses are going to be high, like I said, so you need to manage them if that's something you want to do. Now, the 3rd, 6th, and 7th houses are also getting impacted. The 3rd house signifies if you're commission-based person, if you earn through commission, it's a wonderful time for that. The 12th house signifies things that are foreign. So if your job is something that deals with foreign countries, foreign companies, or anything foreign related, what a wonderful time for that. It's a great time for that. Commission-based people that work on commission, also this is a wonderful time for that because the 3rd house denotes commissions. Also, the 3rd house denotes travel, short distance travel. The 12th house also denotes foreign travel. So those looking to move or travel to foreign countries, wonderful time for that. Short distance travel, wonderful time for that as well. Now, it also denotes the 6th house, which is your health. So take good care of your health. Although because Mars is in a good position, it won't give you any bad health. Even if you do have a little bit of aches and pains, it'll help you recover pretty fast. One thing, word of caution, is the 7th house is getting impacted. Watch your communication with your spouse and your business partners. Make sure you don't tell them off. Mercury is retrograde, remember, it's your 3rd house ruler. So make sure your communication is very cordial at work, with your spouse, with your business partners as well, and everything should go well. It's a good transit for you as long as you keep your mouth under control and you don't misuse or abuse communication. Watch how you communicate on the social media. That's the 3rd house and your communication. So don't go off on a rampage on social media. It may not end well for you. So again, it's a good transit. Watch your communication. Taurus, Mars is in your 11th house and it aspects your 2nd, 5th, and 6th house. It couldn't get any better. The 11th house signifies gains, returns on investments, your friends, and your social circle. So this is a wonderful time for money matters or for things that you were looking for gain. If you were looking for a job this is the time you'll get it. If you were looking to save money and not spend it so much, you'll see your savings go up this time, during this time as well. Wonderful time for money, like I said, and for your career. You might be choosing between jobs because your sixth house is getting activated. So there may be changes in your job, or you may get a new job at this time. So it's a wonderful transit as far as those things are concerned. The fifth house gets activated. The fifth house signifies all the wonderful things of life, which is love life. Could, if you're looking for somebody, new, you might find that person now. Also, it's good for your children. If you have children, they'll do really well. And if they're in the field of education, they're getting educated, they'll also do well in their education. If somebody's looking to get pregnant or start a family, this is a wonderful time for that as well. If somebody has been suffering and they haven't been feeling well lately, this is the time where you'll recover. All over good things happening for Taurus people. Now, the only one thing I do question my Taurus people is the communication. They're going to tend to be a little arrogant and have a little bit of an ego. You need to watch that because things may not end as well as you think. If you're going to throw ego around, if you're going to throw some anger around, remember those are the things that Mars is not going to give good effects on. So use your judgment, because Jupiter is asking you to use very good wisdom to make the choices that may come up during this time for you regarding career or money matters or anything else that I've mentioned. Love life, children. Use good wisdom before you make those choices, and there may be some choices that come along your way this time. So use your good judgment. It's a wonderful time to start things, to start new initiatives, to change investments, a saving plan. Use good wisdom before you do that, and watch your communication. Gemini, Mars sits in your 10th house, and it aspects your 1st, 4th, and 5th house. The 10th house denotes career. So you can get good things in your career, things that you were waiting for a long time. But I do have to tell you that you're going to have to work a little hard for it. But don't worry, if you work hard, you're going to see good results from it. When the 1st and the 5th house get activated, it's a time for recovery from feeling ill, or if you were suffering from your health, it's a time when you will start feeling better. The 5th house gives happiness as well. It's a house of happiness. It's a very auspicious house. So you can get happiness from your children. That's your 5th house. If you have children, they will do better, and you may get a lot of happiness from them. If you're in the field of education or your children are getting educated, this is a good time for that as well. Looking for love, it's a good time, but if you're already in love, make sure you keep your communication cordial, because don't forget, your ascendant lord Mercury is retrograde. So this is my caution for all my Gemini people, is to make sure your communication at home, which is the 4th house, and the 5th house, which is your children and your love life, is very cordial, very nice, very pleasant. Otherwise, you can get into these little verbal spats that are going to rob you of your peace and give you a lot of stress. So make sure your communication stays good, and that will help in your recovery as well. So the key for Gemini is it focuses on your recovery. It focuses on your health. It focuses on you yourself working for your career, working hard and getting good results. But the key for Gemini is always going to be the fact that Mercury is retrograde, and they have to watch their communication. They also have to watch what they're saying to people in their life so they don't hurt the feelings of others. And that's actually going to bounce back on them and give them better health recovery for themselves. Cancer, Mars is going to be in your 9th house, and it's going to aspect your 12th, 3rd, and 4th house. Now, all the travel houses are getting aspected. So Cancer, for you, I'm sure there's going to be some travel during this period. The 9th house also signifies good luck. So this is a time when you will feel lucky. Luck will be on your side as far as your career is concerned, as far as career choices are concerned, or the choices that you make in order to help your career are concerned. The guidance for you is to use very good wisdom before you make choices. Of course, like everybody else, you have to watch your communication at work, but the time is very good in order for you to make some choices or make some decisions regarding how you move forward in your career, because luck will be on your side. One of the issues with the Cancer ascendants at this time is that all the relationship houses are being aspected. The 9th house is your father, the 4th house is your mother, and the 3rd house is a house of siblings. So it's entirely possible that some relationships were damaged in the past with some family members. At this time, my guidance is to use your best wisdom and to repair those relationships. Jupiter counsels you to use wisdom and to let bygones be bygones, and to put the ego and anger aside for everybody in the matter, and to move forward and, just let it go. It's a happy time for you. Things are changing for you, and there's going to be happiness at home. Your fourth house is getting aspected, so there's going to be happiness at home, and there's going to be travel, there's going to be happiness in general. So my guidance to Cancer is, I know it was a troubling time because Mars was in your 8th house. The 8th house is a very disturbed house. For Mars recently, it's moved to your house of luck. Let the luck change, let your relationship change, come into a better state of mind where you're more happy and you're looking forward to good things in your career. Make good plans for moving forward in your career. Use your wisdom to do that. Use your luck factor to do that, and enjoy this next transit. Leo, Mars has moved into your 8th house, and it's going to aspect your 11th, 2nd, and 3rd house. Now, generally, this is a good transit in the sense that the 11th and 2nd houses are getting activated, which is the house of gains and the house of money. So things are looking up in terms of, income, in terms of gains on investments. But the 8th house is also the house of transformation. So you may want to transform yourself. There may be sudden changes that you want to make about yourself. It could be related to money. It could also be related to your appearance. It could be related to a job change, a career change. So use this transit wisely to see or decide, what do you want to change about yourself? So it's a good transit. Normally the 8th house transits are not all that wonderful, but in this case, because Jupiter is there and Mars is in a good place, the action that you take because of Mars being there, use your good wisdom and decide, what is the change I want to make in my life? What is the thing I want to transform about myself? And use that wisely, and you'll get wonderful results from that. So one of the things I think that you might be is some short distance travel is entirely possible. Just one word of caution is, right now is not the time for any real estate matters, because when Mars is in the 8th house, a significator of real estate, things can go awry, or things can get not as you thought it was going to be, or you might get duped into something, or somebody might hide information from you. So now is not the right time for any real estate deals or anything to do, change something in the house, or luxury item purchases, or renovation of house, or anything Mars related items. This is not a good time. You have to wait till the next transit, because Mars in the 8th house doesn't give good results related to real estate, so or a purchase of large luxury items. So resist the urge to do that right now. For those people that were waiting on the settlement of any inheritance related issues or insurance related issues, now is the time then these things will come about, because both the 8th and the 2nd house are getting impacted. So this is a wonderful time for money matters. If there was anything that you were waiting for settlements on, this is a wonderful time for that as well. Use this transit wisely. So my guidance to my Leo ascendants is to use this transit very wisely. If there's something you want to change about yourself in a positive way, this is the time to do it. If you want to do anything new for yourself, if you want to change your career, if you want to make something new about you, or transform is the correct word. If you want to transform yourself, this is the time to do it. Mars will support you, and so will Jupiter. Just make sure that you use good wisdom to decide what your action plan is to make those changes and go forward with them. And Mars and Jupiter will both support you. Virgo, Mars is moving to your 7th house. It's going to aspect your 10th house, your 1st house, and your 2nd house. Now, Virgo, don't forget your ascendant ruler is Mercury, and it's retrograde, which is giving you some communication, some speech issues in how you tell things to people, what you're saying to people, how you're saying it, and how the others are receiving it. Now it moves into the 7th house, and the 7th house denotes marital partnerships, business partnerships. So you need to be a little bit more cautious of what you're saying to your marriage partner, to your business partner. And also 7th house denotes your public image. So you need to watch how you're presenting yourself in the public eye, how you look, how you present yourself, what you're saying to everybody in a public format, so to speak. You need to watch that. Although with Jupiter being there, it's actually going to manage your communication. So make sure whatever you say or do, you use the wisdom of Jupiter before you just blurt things out. So in the past, you may have had the negative energy of Mars where you're blurting out things to everybody and hurting everybody's feelings. Now you're going to use the wisdom of Jupiter to have better managed relationships and better managed communication. the 10th house gets activated, and the 10th house denotes your career. So this is a good time for your career, as long as your ascendant Lord Mercury can be kept in control, which is communication. As long as you're communicating very professionally, you're managing your written communication as well, this is a good time for your career to make advances in your career as well. Mars is going to give you the advancement that you were looking for. Again, I'm saying the keyword is communication. If you can keep that in control, in fact, you can use it to your advantage. Communicate well, communicate professionally, communicate upwards, sideways at work, and you can see that this is a good time for career as well. So you can actually use communication to your advantage. So this is a good time. The first house gets activated, so it's going to give you good energy. It's going to give you rejuvenation. It's also going to give you some good self-confidence to move forward with your plans in your career. So if you're wanting to do things, new things in your career, or learn new things, because Jupiter is aspecting your first house, and it's a wonderful time to learn new things, move forward with some confidence, with a plan, with initiative. It's a wonderful time to do that as well. The second house gets activated, which is the house of money. So you need to be a little careful with your savings. Make sure that you don't squander them. Make sure you keep your savings under control. Ketu's been sitting there taking your savings away, spending them all over the place. So make sure that you watch your savings. You have a plan on how to utilize that. The second house also represents the food you eat. So make sure you eat very healthy, communicate very well. And this transit is actually a wonderful transit for you. So take good advantage of it. Libra, Mars transits to your 6th house, and then it's going to aspect your 9th house, your 12th house, and your 1st house. Now, the 6th house usually denotes like sickness, or it denotes debt, and it also denotes your co-workers. But because Mars is giving its good impact in there with Jupiter, you might feel like if you were suffering with your health issues, you might recover now. Relationships with your co-workers might improve now also if there was problems in it. But I'm warning all my ascendants that Mercury is retrograde right now, so you need to watch your communication at work. Your 12th house gets activated, which is the house of expenses, and your 9th house gets activated, which is also the house of travel. Both 12th and 9th denote foreign, long distance travel. So there you might be spending on some long distance travel as well. Now the first house gets activated, which is a wonderful house for a benefic Mars to impact, because it gives you self-confidence, energy, the desire to move forward, take on initiatives, and really take on new things and move forward. So this is a wonderful transit if you want to present yourself to the world at work. As long as your communication is wonderful, pleasant, take this opportunity to present yourself with this great self-confidence, take on new projects at work, volunteer for doing something new at work, take on new responsibilities at work. Ask your bosses at work if you can do things for them, and this will look very, very good for you. It's a great thing to do for your career at this season, so take advantage of this transit in your career. And the 9th house getting activated, which is your house of luck, may put you in the right place at the right time and make you look wonderful, because the first house is getting activated actually gives you an enhanced view of others viewing you, how others view you. So you're going to look wonderful to everybody when you do that. So take this opportunity to do that as well. Since the 6th house is getting activated, this is also the time to get rid of all the bad habits that you want to get rid of. It's a wonderful time to start a physical regimen. The 6th house denotes, workouts, physical, going to the gym, yoga, whatever. So this 6th house, you can do that. If there's any bad habits that you were trying to get rid of, now's the time. You can do that. Again, it's hard work. It's a hard-working time. The 6th house does denote daily routines and hard work. So it's a hard-working time, but use the time wisely. Jupiter counsels you to use your wisdom, volunteer at work, to take on additional responsibilities on work. They will work out in your favor and give you good gains later on in your career. So use this time wisely. Use the wisdom of Jupiter at work. Manage your communication, get rid of the bad habits, and luck will be on your side because of the 9th house getting activated. Scorpio, Mars moves into the 5th house and it aspects the 8th house, the 11th house, and the 12th house. Now, the 5th house is what I call the fun house because it denotes all the good things of life. It denotes your children. It denotes love life. It denotes entertainment. It denotes education. So all these things you're going to see the good part or the benefits of these things. Your children will do well. If you're in the field of education, you will do well. Also, if somebody's trying to start a family, what a perfect time. If you're looking for love, what a perfect time as well. Mars aspect on the 8th house, something sudden changes. So there could be sudden changes regarding your job. You might have to make some decisions or choices at this time. The counsel or the guidance is that you use your wisdom or Jupiter's wisdom to make sure that the changes or the choices that you make at this time are wise. Don't be hasty, don't be rash, don't be impulsive. Make sure you're very wise about the choices that you make. Although these changes could become very sudden and you might not even give you a chance to think too much about these. The aspect on the 11th house means lots of gains from your network, gains from your investments. So the 11th house is a significator of your network, your friends. So if you reach into that circle and if you want something from them, you want favors from them, some other benefits from them, this is a wonderful time for you to reach into them and ask for that. Otherwise, it's also investment gains, so this is a wonderful time for that as well. The 12th house, again, the aspect is expenses, so this is an expensive time for you at this time. One of the things when both the 12th and the 11th get activated is that there's investments or losses in investments. So make sure that you invest very wisely, or maybe you don't want to invest at this time unless you're very sure about investments. Be a little careful about that because 12th house indicates expenses or losses. So at this time, I'd say watch your investments carefully. Don't try to make new investments unless you're very sure about certain things. Otherwise, it's a wonderful transit for Scorpio at the happiness quotient. I'm not talking from a material level, but from a happiness level. Sagittarius, Mars moves into your 4th house, aspects your 7th house, 10th house, and 11th house. Now, Mars is least comfortable in the 4th house because that's the house that belongs to the moon, and Mars and moon are very opposite energies. So this is a time when you're mentally, or the 4th house is your mental peace, domestic happiness, and so you might get a little disturbed. One of the things that you have to watch is that since Mercury is also retrograde at this time, watch your communication at home, people that live at home with you. Also watch your relationships with them at home. What are you expecting from people? The 7th house is being activated, and the 7th house represents your spouse, also your business partners. And so when both the 4th and the 7th house are being aspected, I'd say that the Sagittarius ascendants need to be very careful of how they handle people at home, which is their spouse and everybody else living at home. And with the Mercury retrograde, I think that really you need to watch what you say and how you manage these relationships. I would strongly suggest that you don't act like the commander-in-chief at home and tell everybody what to do. It might not end really well for you. But all is not bad for the Sagittarius people. The houses 10 and 11 are also being aspected. So the 10th house is your career. So it's a wonderful time for your career. Use your Jupiter wisdom. Use your coaching efforts. Use your good communication skills to help people at work. And so this can be wonderful. It could result in wonderful things for your career. And the 11th house gets activated. The 11th house is gains from your career. It's also monetary gains. So when both 10 and 11 get activated at the same time, it means wonderful things in your career. So take full advantage of this as far as your career is concerned. If you feel that aggression coming on, take it out at work. Use the aggression and the energy, turn it into positive, and use it at work to put in the hard work, to take on new initiatives, take on new projects, so they benefit you in the future, as opposed to taking them on at people at home. That's not the right place right now because that will end badly. But if you use that same initiative, energy at work, it can benefit you. So my guidance is for the Sagittarius is to definitely take this Mars energy, the Jupiter wisdom, use it at work to move ahead in your career, as opposed to using all this energy at home and telling people what to do at home, because that may damage the relationships, but using it at work may help you get ahead. This is a wonderful transit for you as far as career is concerned. Watch things at home, watch your communication. Capricorn, Mars transits to the third house, and it aspects your sixth house, ninth house, and 10th house. This is a wonderful transit for Capricorn because the third house signifies your initiative, your drive, your focus, your willingness to take on more work or put in the hard work with dedication. And when a planet like Mars that is full of energy, benefic energy with Jupiter comes into the third house, it can only benefit you, meaning it gives you the drive that you need to take on something, the focus that you need to go after something that you want, set your goals and put action plan in place for you to achieve your success or achieve something that you want, the desired results. This is wonderful for you if you're willing to put in the hard work, put an action plan together, and go after what you want. It's a great transit for that. It's aspect in the sixth house. The sixth house is one of health issues. It's also of loans, debts, and your co-workers. So the sixth house, if you were having any health issues, they can get resolved now because Mars will give you that energy to overcome any health issues. If you had loans or if you had litigations, this is a time when you'll come out of those as well, because Mars will give you that fire, the energy, and coupled with Jupiter's wisdom, will give you that whole energy to overcome all these challenges that the sixth house may have presented in the past. The ninth house gets activated. The ninth house is the house of luck. So when the sixth and ninth both get activated, luck will be on your side to give you the success or overcome the challenges of the sixth house. One of the significations also of the third house is siblings, or if you do any writing work, or if you create, you're a content creator or something like that, you're on social media for something. It's a very good time for that, for writing, for creating something. It's a wonderful time for that. But also the negative signification of the third house is communication. So right now Mercury is retrograde, so you have to be very careful of how you communicate, because your third Mars in your third house, and the ruler of the generic third house is Mercury. So you have to be extra cautious about your communication skills, especially what you put out in social media, what you say stuff to people in writing, or what you're writing, your emails. You have to be very, very careful about what you're putting in writing. Like I said, what you put out in social media, sometimes people say whatever they want to on YouTube channels or on Instagram, or all these social media platforms. You have to be extra cautious, because this is not the time for you to blow off people, tell people things, and say stuff that is not so pleasant. It will end really, really badly for you if you were to do that. It's better to just not say anything if you feel like it than to say something very nasty at this time. So you want to say something positive, by all means do that. But negative communication is not going to end well for you. So be very cautious of that, Capricorn, of your communication at this time, because Mars has gone into your house of communication. Be very cautious about how you communicate with your neighbors and siblings. That's your third house as well. The third house also means short travels, so there may be some short travels that you're going to plan for at this time. Otherwise, it's a wonderful time for career as well, because it looks at your career, but you're going to have to work very, very, very hard for it, because the third house represents hard work. So hard work at this time is going to give you good results in your career at this time. Again, my guidance for Capricorn: watch your communication, be willing to set up an action plan, work hard, and move towards your goals, towards your careers, and it could give you very good results later on. Aquarius, Mars is going to transit to your second house. It's going to aspect your fifth house, eighth house, and ninth house. So one of the issues with Aquarius is that Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, and Mars and Saturn don't get along. They're really, really sworn enemies. So Mars is never a really good benefit-giving planet to the Aquarius individuals. And so now when it moves into the second house, it kind of ruins the implications of the second house, because Mars doesn't give good results in the second house to begin with. So the second house is the food that you eat. You have to be very careful what you eat, Aquarius, and also your communication or the speech. So you have to make sure your speech is not fiery like Mars. You have to be polite, you have to be diplomatic. Make sure you don't get into the angry communication. So you have to watch for that as well. The second house is family. It represents your finance. You have to be watchful of finance and how you invest it, how you spend it, your savings plan. The eighth house is getting activated as well. So you need to make sure that, you're very cautious about your investments. You're very cautious about your savings. And you're very cautious about your relationships with your family members. So those are the three cautions that I have to, or the few cautions that I have to give to Aquarius at this time. Mercury is retrograde on top of it. So the speech is even worse, because for Aquarius, Mercury rules their eighth house. So every time Aquarius is, slips up with their communication, it breaks things, it ruins relationships, sometimes on permanent basis. So, Aquarius doesn't have a prayer when it comes to miscommunication or bad communication. It actually just ruins things permanently for them. So right now it's even worse. Mars is in the second house, Mercury is retrograde, the lord of their eighth house, and now they just really don't stand a chance especially if they have any communication issue. They just don't have a chance of recovering from it. So that's why I'm cautioning my Aquarius ascendants to make sure, communicate well, be very personable. Don't have fiery speech. Make sure you're saying things the right way to the right people. Be very watchful. Think before you talk. All these things. Now there's good things too, because it's aspecting your ninth house, and so Mars does rule the house of career for Aquarius thing. So there may be changes in your career because the eighth house is getting activated. The eighth house signals change, sudden changes. But there's one good thing about this transit for Aquarius, is that their career is going to do well. They probably make good money. Their earning capacity is going to be good this time. Why? Because the Mars rules their 10th house of career, and it's also in the second house. So the second house and the 10th house together relate to how much money you earn. So this is the good transit, is as far as the income for the Aquarius ascendants will be very good. But as far as managing relationships and managing communication, that's going to be challenged at this point. Make sure you invest wisely. Make sure you manage your relationships well. And so all kinds of relationships. Otherwise, good luck, Aquarius. This too shall pass. Pisces, Mars transits to your first house, your ascendant house, and it aspects your fourth, seventh, and eighth house. Now, I've always believed that when Jupiter goes into the first house of Lagna, it's almost like the sprinkling of Ganga Jal, or Ganga Jal is holy water. It's the sprinkling of holy water all over the birth chart, and just activates, all the good things of the birth chart. And now, what better than Jupiter coming into its own house of Pisces, which Pisces is owned by Jupiter, and then sprinkling the holy water over the birth chart. So the best transit this is for the Pisces people of all the 12 ascendants. And the reason for that is not only its own ascendant lord in its own house, in the first house, but Mars has moved in there. And Mars for the Jupiter ascendants is one of the really good planets. It rules the second house of money, and it rules the ninth house of luck. So the planet of luck, money, is now come into and sitting in the house of the ascendant, along with the planet that's going to sprinkle the holy water over the birth chart. It doesn't really get better. Now, the other thing to note is that this isn't going to happen very often. The only time it's going to happen for the Pisces individuals is when their own ascendant lord Jupiter is going to be in their Lagna or in the ascendant, which is once in 12 years. So, and then when Mars transits over it, that's one time, in that 1 year that Mars is going to transit it. So it's a rare event in your lifetime. Take full advantage of it. This is the best guidance I can give you is to take action. Use this time to use the wisdom of Jupiter and the action plan, or the action and the energy of Mars, to make a plan for the future and put that into motion right now. The plan is for your career and your future goals. Think about what you can do, how you can do, put in the hard work, and have a plan moving forward. So you're going to do wisdom plus energy plus action to move forward. And this is the time, the opportunity, once in 12 years that you're going to get to actually put this plan into motion so you can get the benefits of everything that for the next many years. This is the opportune moment. Don't let it go. Waste. So let's talk about the actual significations of it. So it's going to look at the fourth house. The fourth house is your mental peace, domestic bliss. and that's going to be much better. It looks directly or aspects directly the 7th house, which is the house of the spouse. You're going to spend a wonderful time with your spouse, and you're going to have a wonderful relationship with that person, with your spouse as well. The 8th house is the house of change or sudden changes or transformation. This transformation could be positive for you this time, because you're going to make those changes in your life that give you these transformations. So where you change to from whatever you are today to what you want to be. So that's why you're going to use this energy for this transformation. So you become who you want to be and you get what you want. So from where you are today, you transform into what you want to be tomorrow. That's why you're going to use this energy of Jupiter and Mars to get to where you want to be. Don't lose this opportunity. Use it to your best advantage. The planets and the positions, the houses are supporting you at this time. Of course, your own birth chart is very critical in this, but the transits are supporting you at this time. So don't let this energy go to waste. Use it wisely to move forward. Take the necessary action plan that you want to move forward. And with this, I come to the end of my video. Good luck to everybody. Have a wonderful, lucky transit. Stay healthy and stay healthy